Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, we talk about our favorite companions. But first, a couple bits of news and a shout out to our guild Alea Iacta Est on Jedi Covenant. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 133. Get in the Escape Pod, buddy. And really strap in 133 because traveling through hyperspace ain't like dusting crops, farm boy. With me as always is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Poor 133. He doesn't know what he's in for.
No, farm droid. I should have called him.
He's going to go play Super Dew Valley or Star Dew, whatever that game is.
Yes. Yeah, that's the new all the new rage that all the cool kids are playing.
Yes.
Stardew Valley.
Yes. I am doing great. I made a bunch of augment kits over the weekend, and I ran a bunch of crew missions so that I could get the white crafting thing to make the yes. Anyway, so yes, I did a lot of clicking in the crafting crew skill space this weekend, and for me, so I ended up with like 67. My evil plan was to make all these grade 8 augment kits so that I could then turn them in for grade 9. I'm so proud of myself because I actually remembered to do the last step, was just turn them in. And I did go and turn in all my grade 8 mats for grade 9 mats at the vendor on the fleet. And I thought of maybe holding back some of the grade 8 mats, but in the end I figured I can just get more. So I just converted them all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you told me that plan and that did sound like a good. I did hold some back. But that seems pretty viable just to turn them all in.
Yeah, so I did that. And then, of course, during the week we did our normal ops things. Our week started off, at least for me. I mean, I know you had a lot going on with work, but it was weird not having the podcast on Monday night because we recorded early last week. Was that last week?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and that was weird.
So it was like Monday, all day long on Monday. I felt like, oh, I have this day ahead of me. I don't have to I can go to bed if I want to at 9 p.m., which I didn't, of course. But yeah, so we did our normal ops stuff. Yeah, it was a good week. We actually had a little snow today here, and yeah, it's been such a mild winter. I don't know, we might have like some kind of crazy spring or something.
Same thing here
Kind
in
of worried.
Chicago. We've had a little bit of snow, but it has been really mild. It keeps like getting warm and then gets back cold again, and it's the whole El Nino thing is messing stuff up. But I think
Yeah, is
we
that
should
what
be
it is?
okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was the zombie apocalypse coming. If
Uh,
it's just El Nino,
One of
I'm
the
not as
two.
worried.
It's one of the two. It's half, 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. They're about the same, as far as I know. I'm no weather expert, but it's either zombies or it's probably
So
zombies.
anyway, what have you been up to this week?
I spent some more time on the PTS, and we're going to talk about some of the
Oh,
changes
good.
that they made there. I did try the new Odessan Warzone a few times. I did have fun on the AIE podcast last night that you and I
Yes.
were on. That was fun to talk about some of SWTOR in the larger context of AIE, the guild. We did, we were in hard mode Dread Fortress for a while on Thursday. That was fun to get back in the
Yes, we
hard mode
did. It
and
was fun.
remember our
And we got the
techniques.
first three bosses, and then uh
I had to go.
Corrupt Zero. Yeah. Yes, that's right. You had to go, but I was going to say Corruptor Zero. I mean, maybe we'll get it. We didn't get it
Yeah,
at level.
I think we could. I don't think it'll be that much of a problem. I had to go pick up my daughter from basketball practice in the middle of ops time. That's a crime. But she's a good kid, so I'll do that. I won't make her walk home in the dark.
You would if she was a bad kid.
Well, then it's tough love.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that was it. Some of the usual stuff, and we'll talk more about it in the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So yes, they did update the Odessan Warzone mechanics this week. They took some of the feedback that had been going on in the forums and that they heard from people, and they incorporated quite a bit of it. There's a relatively long post. I'll touch on some of the high points here because we did talk about it in detail last week. But I liked the changes in summary. I liked the changes that they made, and I think they really addressed a lot of what I and other people who gave detailed feedback were really talking about as being flaws that they saw so far in some of the core mechanics. They did optimize the visuals a little bit, so performance-wise it was slightly better. They made the control points last a little bit longer, so there could be a little bit more of a battle over them over time. They made it fair, so when the game starts, only the 3 control points in the middle light up, only two of those 3, so it's not like one on one of the sides that one of the side team, whichever side you're on, would get an advantage. That makes a ton of sense. They added little crates and walls in little parts around the control points, so you could put your back to something and not necessarily get knocked right out. You could still potentially get knocked around, but it's more difficult if you're using and making use of those. And I did make use of those playing on my Sork and putting my back to it and not getting knocked out of the spots, and found that to be pretty effective. It's not in every one of the control points, and it's not on every corner or every wall, so you can still get knocked out. But then they also made it so it takes 4 seconds to recapture a node instead of just 3. So even if you do get knocked out, it's a tiny bit longer there, 33% longer, 33.33 repeating.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer, so you'd have a little bit more of a chance to get back in. Hey, here's a tip for the Sorks and assassins, I guess. If you drop your what is the thing called?
Your teleport thingy.
Teleport thingy. If you put your teleport thingy right in the middle of the square, and then you get knocked out, you have one more little trick then to jump right back into the middle of the square before that 4 seconds is up. That's a little secret I'll give to you for free.
So,
as opposed to
wow,
all the secrets I
really
make people pay for.
right. That they have made really good use of the PTS, it sounds like.
Yes. Wow, what a novel concept to actually put things on the PTS and see how they work.
Well, yeah, all mockery aside, they could use it just for fixing bugs, but they're shaping the game
Yes.
too. So,
Which
exactly. I give them credit.
And there were even a few more changes beyond that. They changed the way some of those battle mod things worked. So I give them credit as well. I'm glad they put it out there. I'm glad they're incorporating the feedback. I liked the changes. I still think it's going to be a complicated war zone and difficult for new people to get into or figure out what's going on. I think they could even do more to, make like big red text on the screen when you pick up one of those battle mods that tells you what you're supposed to do with it or something like that, and a few other things. But I think it's huge steps forward, and I think the whole war zone's in a playable state. So we'll see where it goes from here. They did,
Sweet.
just one last thing on that, they did have playtesting over the weekend that I think they dropped it in Dev Tracker, but they barely talked about it. They barely mentioned it. They didn't put it on Twitter, so not many people saw it. I have a feeling a couple people told me offline, oh, I didn't even know they were doing it. It'd be nice if they sort of publicize that a little bit more, get more people out there testing.
Yes. Yeah, that would be nice. So we have a patch coming this week, 4.2, and from the patch notes we see that, yes, Chapter 11, as we expected, which is entitled Disavowed. So should be dropping on Tuesday this week. Also in the patch are a bunch of general fixes, including one that says Blizz is now the correct size. So I guess there was a state or a possibility that Blizz could be the wrong size, which I never actually saw with my Blizz, but now I feel bad. I missed it.
I know. I saw screenshots, but I didn't see it either.
Some changes to some classes and some things like Vanguard Plasma Tech. Their superheated plasma is looks like it's a little bit of a nerf, but I guess it looks like it was a change that was made to Pyrotechs earlier, and they had somehow missed it on Vanguard, so they're bringing those in line. Which they should do. Also, good news, 100% chance to drop 224 gear tokens in nightmare mode operations. So that's here finally. The vendor on the fleet that you could trade in grade 8 materials to grade 9 materials is gone now. That is the end of that particular little thing. Yes, they said they were going to do it, so they did it.
So there you go.
So two or three, or actually three of the white crafting materials that you buy from the crew skill trade, or you can also get from crew missions, have had their prices reduced. These are the grade 9 ones, the one for Artificer, for Arms Tech and Armor Mech, and for Biochem, which are the Cranoran Thread, the Endothermic Flux, and the Vapro Sampler. So they were like 2,200 gold. So, sorry, credits. So now they're going to reduce that, but we don't know what to yet.
Right. Right. It'll be
And
interesting
then
to see.
Yes, it will be interesting to see. And then I was just thinking about these appliance supply crates. There's a note about the gifts are going to drop. I guess they were dropping green gifts, and they were supposed to not drop green gifts. So now they're saying they really won't be dropping green gifts, and instead they'll drop the artifact quality rank 5 gifts. And then there's a ton of fixes and a ton of just like bullet point after bullet point. So go check out the patch notes if you're interested in that stuff.
Yeah, lots of expected fixes, lots of new fixes. It's good to see them continuing to get those up to date as well. I do hope the supply crates still have a chance to drop the grade 6 consumable and
Yeah, me too.
Because you could get one of those every once in a while, and it's tough to be able to get those, and you need something to feed my act dog. So let's see.
Yes.
We will have
Your next suit.
we will have a producer live stream coming up this week. They're pushing it off a day because Ben is going to be out of the office towards the end of the week. So what did they say? They're going to move it by one day. They're going to have it on Wednesday, March 9th.
Yes.
These are the good ones. Remember the story streams? They're going to be changing those into sort of a video vlog type of format. So this is the only monthly live stream now from the developers. And these do tend to be pretty good and more focused on what's coming in the game and game mechanics. There's bad news, we know, this month for what was supposed to be coming next month, or we were hoping to actually even get this month. That the Eternal Championship, I'm blowing Seema's next news item. So I'm sure we're going to hear more about that and what's up with that and why. But we'll also hear any other announcements or news coming up. So
Yeah, they basically said they're pushing it off, but they didn't actually say to when. And since SWTOR as a companion is tied to the Eternal Championship, he will not be available either. So they basically said no new alliance alerts with 4.2.
right. So you'll still be recruiting a companion. That's part of the story, and we all know about that. But no extra alert to get an additional companion, which makes me really wonder, when are we going to be getting back all of the other companions that we're supposed to be getting back? We're going to be running out of chapters here pretty soon. I feel like there's going to be some story element where like a bunch of them come back all at once.
Like we find a closet in the back of our grandfather's cottage, and we go into, and they're all hiding in there.
They were in your ship the whole time. They were just waiting for you to come in the command control room. They have thrown a birthday party for you. They've been waiting 5 years in there for you to walk in and have a birthday party. Surprise!
They've been surviving on military rations.
Yes, that C2N2's been creating for them, prepackaged military.
Along with some Alderanian nectar.
Yes. Also,
so the Gree are back this week.
Yes.
Ha
Stealing my news item back. Touche, Seema, touche. The Gree are back. Yes, the Gree are back, and bounty contracts are coming back on the 22nd. Don't take it.
Take item.
New no-take news item. In guild and community news this week, with the Gree back, we're going to be doing our mandatory fun night this week on Ilum and fighting the Xenoanalyst. So hopefully people have level 65 characters, because I still don't think we have bolster for that Xenoanalyst, which I would like them to go back and put in. That would be great.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to come and put that back in.
Go ahead.
Also, our Republic Ops team, Soldiers of Light, which meets on Monday nights, still could use an additional. They do have at least one opening. We had 2 healers tonight, which I think are going to be running regularly. But yeah, we have a couple people on the team that could play either healer or DPS, so it could be mixed up if needed. So anyway, they need at least one more person to be a regular.
Excellent. We have a bunch of people that have been coming in from other AIE games. A couple in particular are officers in some of our other games. So Tetsemi is one of our officers in the WoW guild that's been around for a long, long time. He has a reputation, which I can identify with, of doing a lot of spreadsheets for the guild in general, for a lot of guild business and tracking a lot of things for the guild. So he's now back into Star Wars. He played Star Wars before. He's back into it now again. And he started up some spreadsheet work again to track some of the things that he needed to track for his characters and started posting them in the forum. So I expect to see more of those. Tetsemi's posted the first one just to track skilled crews and crafting abilities on all of his characters. Go ahead and grab that one from him if you want a place to track it. That's sort of nice.
Also, we have an ops team running on Friday nights. They also could use an additional member, although they ran last Friday night, I hear, and I'm sure fun was had by all. So if you are looking for an ops team on Friday night, this one's for you. It's on the imp side.
Also in community news, I wanted to do a shout out. I did an ask in Twitter earlier, and if people have additional things, they can send them in. I'd love to do more community-wide, SWTOR-wide type news in this segment as well. But one thing in particular that's fun to talk about, and that's coming up on the 12th, is Utini's having another event in their series of events on Harbinger. So if you have a character on Harbinger, they're doing a pod race on the 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And they have prizes, and they have sort of rules for how the pod race works and that kind of thing. So those kinds of events are very cool when any guild does them. I was in on a pod race with the Passionately Casual Guild. We've had various types of events like that in our guild. Utini's got a whole series of them running weekly right now of different kinds of events. Check them out. Those are pretty cool. Over to you, Seema. I'll let you. I keep stealing this one weekly, so this is yours this time. There.
Okay. To everyone not yet in AIE, our guild is always looking for new members on Jedi Covenant. Our parent community, Alea Iacta Est, is a very large, family-friendly, multi-game group. And we have a solid guild here in SWTOR on both the Republic and the Imperial side. So look for us on our site at aie-guild.org, and you can catch officers in game by typing /cjoin AIE LFO. That LFO means looking for officers. So just on Jedi Covenant, just join AIE LFO and ask for an invite.
Absolutely. We would love to have you. And shout out to the chat room. We got a bunch of people in there. Always love to see you guys in there. Thanks for the notes and comments, getting us prepped for the show, and we'll catch up a little bit after.
We appreciate it highly.
That is cool. And let me see, who else do we have hanging out here? We've got we got a few people to help introduce the segment for the day. Let's see, who do we have? Why, thank you, Mark. That's excellent.
That's
Yeah, my thoughts exactly, Kim. Yeah, and I'll kill you later too. Thank you, Treek.
Hi, Treek.
And that's a little T7 there for you. So yes, companions. I left off the ones that actually speak basic because they can be annoying, you know, like,
thanks for trusting me.
Shut up, Nadia. So we
Yes.
wanted to talk a little bit about companions this week. We haven't talked about companions just in general for a while, or just as a fun topic. We're not going to spend a ton of time going into detail. We'll talk a little bit about the background, but more wanted to mention companions in general, how they've evolved, what our favorites were from the past, old school, what they look like right now. I'm interested to hear what Seema's thoughts on her favorites are. I also did, though, want to do a shout out to a couple resources that I always use for companions that we'll mention, and let me I can show one here in particular, not that one. But and talk about some of the background and things that I still use out there on the web for dealing with companions. To kick it off, I don't know if anybody's seen, but SWTOR has got a new web series, a video series she's doing on YouTube, little 5-minute videos, 5-minute episodes, about once a week. And episode 5 this week, just coincidentally, we already had this on our list, but it's how do companions work? So she does a little 5-minute, 4-minute thing about companions and some of the background on companions. So I recommend checking that out if you are really new to the game and you want a little background and what the deal is with companions. This is episode 5 of hers, and she's got some other ones out there that are interesting to take a look at. But she reminds us of where some of the basics of companions are at and where they come from, and I was sort of going through in my own head of all the places that companions come from nowadays. It used to be you only got all the old school 5 basic companions and the ship droid. Were all that we started with when Star Wars launched, and that was 5 per class, per base class, and they were pretty detailed companions. They each had a little bit of a story. Your first companion that you always got had the most story, so I know some of them. Like one of my favorite is definitely one of those base. A lot of my favorites are some of those base companions because you did so much with them to start. But nowadays we've got a lot of companions coming out of the Alliance system. And within the Alliance system, we have main characters coming out of Knights of the Fallen Empire that have now our companions within that Alliance system. And we have additional recruits coming out of that system that are either basic recruits, like characters that you're going after in completing the Star Fortress planets, or the new special companions that you can get by doing the extra alerts that pop up. So there's quite a bit of depth, and I really like what some of the things are that are going on around those companions. We're seeing more and more reward companions pop up. We now have Nico Carr. That was a reward for what was that a reward for? Pre-ordering coffee?
Yeah.
Or subscribing early?
Something coffee related. Yeah, something pre-ordering or... Yeah, I don't remember, but it was a reward for doing something that they wanted us to do.
And then, minor spoiler, although we're a little bit past it now. HK55, if you want him as a companion, that was another pre-order type thing. I don't think there's a way to get some of these special like pre-order reward type companions outside of having done the thing that it took to get them, at least right now, right?
For him, I don't think it was pre-order so much as it was be subscribed by a certain date. But is there a way to get around that now if you weren't subscribed on that date?
I don't think so. So I think...
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think if you don't have HK55 by now, I don't think you can get them. And same with Nico.
No.
Treek and HK51 were a couple special cases. Treek was always just out of the cartel market, right?
Right.
There was no...
No, I mean, you could buy her with credits in game too. If you had legacy level, I think it was 40.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So there was a way to unlock Treek without cartel. You can still get Treek out of the cartel market, and Treek's one that you can unlock for your legacy, which I find really useful.
Right.
And then HK51 was a special companion that you could get by doing the whole HK51 mission. once you got
Right.
him once, you could unlock him for other characters, but don't you have to pay $1 million per character to unlock him on additional characters without doing the quest again?
I don't know. Let me look. I don't have him on this character. I don't think I can check.
You can still do that quest, that whole quest line for HK51, and you can.
Oh no, I do have him. Never mind.
Oh, you do have him.
Yeah. I it, I thought you had to do the quest on each character, but I guess you can unlock him because I'm pretty sure I didn't do the quest
Yeah, but it
beyond the first
from
time.
what I know, I'm pretty sure it costs like 1 million credits or something. Just if you would just want to do the unlock without having to do the quest after you already have him on another character. So that's another class of companion. And then finally, there's more cartel companions that are coming out of the boxes that are the new special ones, like our Act Dogs, the Nexu, and then a couple new droid type companions that are available. I think those are pretty interesting. I'm really getting a kick out of the new animal companions. So those are some of my
Yeah.
favorite. And the companions have also changed over time. They now are able to be tanks, healers, or DPS at launch. They each had a specific role, or two roles. They could be like a tank, or they could switch to sort of a DPS mode or a healer or DPS mode, like Mako was a healer or DPS. Now having them all have basically all the same capability, that scales by influence still, but all the same capability to be either tank or healer or DPS. I find that pretty useful because that makes
I,
it,
I think I think that's because of Treek. I think Treek started that thinking because since Treek could be a healer or a tank and actually change stances to do that, and that it made people think, well, gosh, I want that, HK51. Oh, he just does DPS, and I think it might have been the beginning of the whole. Now they can all do all three.
right. I did like when Treek was able to change stance in the middle of a fight,
Yeah,
just as
yeah, me too.
it wasn't critical, it wasn't anything super special, but I did use it every once in a while to go from tanking and then throw down some extra healing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I did too. Especially like if you were doing that heroic on Oricon,
Yep,
trying to power through that on a solo day.
exactly. So that's changed. It is nice to be able to use companions in any of those stances. We all obviously use most of the companions have the capability to do crew missions as well, but not all. And that's a new interesting thing. I wonder why. I mean, I guess it would be dumb to have the Act Dog going off and crafting armor for you, but he heals you. I don't know.
With his slobber.
Yeah, so maybe he'll like craft armor with his little paws and slobber it together in place or whatever. The droid
I
companions
guess,
could
you
certainly do
know,
it. I don't know.
it injects some variety into the system.
I guess. And then they also changed the whole system of how you sort of level up your companion and how you gear your companion. That's
That would
changed
be
over
funny
time.
if you could send them out on crafting missions and they would just fail on everything. Sorry, I don't have thumbs.
It always fails every time. But maybe they'd be really good at gathering because they'd be like playing
Yeah,
fetch. They could have a gathering
yeah.
bonus. Here, I brought you back this Durasteel, big pile of Durasteel dropped at your feet. That would be cute. They also added the influence system, so that was something new that changed over time. So you used to have affection for your companions, and your affection would only affect how well they did crew missions for you, how quick they did crew missions, and their likelihood
Yes.
to crit on those crew missions. Now, influence replaces affection. Influence scales up quite a bit more than affection ever did, and influence affects how well they perform in combat. One thing that they took away is gear no longer affects how they perform in combat, and gear is only cosmetic on the companions that can still wear gear cosmetically. if that makes sense. The way I
Yes.
redundantly said that again, redundantly. Once again, a lot of the companions you can't put gear on or have or use even cosmetic slot. Oh no, see, like Nico Okara here, he's got at least a customization slot, and he's got slots for weapons. So that's nice. You can give him different guns, and maybe we can look forward to customizations on some of these companions that we can't dress up right now in new armor. It's mostly only the old school companions that you can dress up in costumes and put different armor on, which I'm, I wish I could dress Lana up if I was gonna take her out. Is that coming out the right way? If I was going to take her out, I wish I could dress her up. No, that's not what I mean. If I was going to be using her in combat, I wish I had the opportunity to put some different armor on her.
Would you put the slave girl outfit on
No,
her?
I would not. I do not put that in any of my companions, male or female or alien. No, but like
Or
I like them when I'm all bounty huntered up, like here the armor that I've got on, and I like when my companions match. Like we're twinsies. I don't know. I guess that's a little not sounding as cool as I thought it did. I like them when they have armor. So I mean, Lana's she's got a little bit of like little Sith outfit, but if we're gonna be doing the whole bounty hunter thing, I like when they have Mandalorian gear type gear on. Or
plus, it's just good for a change. I mean, even if her
also
outfit's
variety.
fine.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I do really like that my Act Dog now has a customization that can go on and off. So I really hope they go further with that, because this new Act Dog customization I think is super cool. Although
Yes.
I like his original skin as well, and being able to flip back and forth between those is super awesome. If you don't remember, if you hadn't realized, they did put this companion customization for the Act Dog in relatively recently. You can go down to the Cartel Bazaar on the fleet, and you pay some Jawa junk to one of the little Jawa vendors, and it's only like 10 of the purple ones to get the customization. So you can look for that if you don't have it yet. But before we get into what our favorites are, I did want to mention customizations and some of those other resources. I still use Delphi a lot for resources. I look up Delphi's website if I want to look up what gifts are that the companions really like. I always look up her companion influences guide, because she's got the chart for what all the old school gifts are that the companions like, how many you need to give them now, and how much influence they give. And I really like being able to look up what the favorite, and the love are for especially all the new companions. You need to have that in mind when you're giving them gifts, because you want to make sure you're giving them the highest. If they have a gift that they love, which most companions do, that's the one that you're always giving them, and not something else.
I use Tor Community.
You use Tor Community for that? Tor Community is
Yeah,
another good
because
resource.
my reasoning is they're pulling from the database, and I just feel like it's always going to be accurate, whereas Delphi has to remake those tables every time there's a change.
True. Although it's a data mining cut, so you need to make sure it's refreshed from Tor Community.
Yes, that's true. But it just
but
seems like
good.
that seems more likely to happen because Delphi is in multiple games.
Yes, and she's
And
expanding.
yes, doing things by hand.
Right.
I don't know. Delphi is a great resource.
Yes.
For sure. I just for this particular kind of thing, I like to look at a database pull. But yeah,
and then
the exact same thing could happen with Tor Community. Who knows?
Right. It could. And then one other old school resource that's completely out of date, that I still do like for quite a few things, though, is SWTORspy.com. They have a companions page, which at least gives you the pictures and the background, a real nice page on each of the old school companions. A lot of this stuff is out of date. It's like if you look, it's got like the crew skill bonuses. These don't exist anymore for any of these companions. But when you click into them, you can get some of the detail on sort of what the backstory is, what weapons they use, and all those little. That's a little bit out of date too. But anyway, I still like it. One other page, which I have not found duplicated anywhere, which I still certainly like on SWTORspy.com, is the companion customization page. They talk all about companion customizations, and you may not realize it, but there are a ton of customizations available for all of the old school companions. Like here's an example. I like Chemval is one of my favorite that I'm going to talk about. But there are eight different customizations that you can just go out into a few vendors in the world and buy. So Chemval, when you first get him, as soon as you get to level 10, you always get to pick one of a potential 3 different customizations for those base companions that you get, your first companion on each character. But then there's 8 more that you could have gotten off of Balmora, Terrace, and Ilum. There's another 3 that come from the Collector's Edition vendor. There's another 3 that come from the security key vendor for Chemval. And there's another one that came out of one of the cartel packs. So a ton of customization. So I always have a cool customization that I like for Chemval. Which is it? It's one of those ones where he's got this big bulky armor set that I think looks really cool. They change the color of his skin and they give him some extra armor. It's this one that's the one I always have Chemval wearing, where he's like red with big armor and.
Yeah, and the armor on Chemval is part of his customization, right? You cannot ever
Right.
put any armor, right?
Right, you cannot dress him.
Even
dress
in
him
the olden
armor.
days.
But I totally want that as opposed to how he starts out with just like this weird loincloth thing.
Yeah,
who would
that's a good
Who
point.
would want that? Who wants a Chemval running around in a loincloth? It's a little creepy. So dress him up in some actual armor, and I think it looks a lot better. I do like that you can change the color too. So his skin, he's got this sort of I think a greenish, reddish, and a white, sort of a pale view that you can change. And I do notice, as I said, we've got those customization slots on a lot of those new companions too. So hopefully we'll be getting a Lana customization before long, and
Yes, there's so many
Cortana
opportunities for
customization.
yeah.
So let's talk about our favorites. Seema, lay it on me.
Okay. So when I think about my favorite character, it always comes back to me to Kaizen Fess. And I know it's kind of a nostalgia choice because he was my first companion on my first character, but I just like his view of the world. He's kind of a philosophical dude. He wants to hunt big targets, and that's what he wants to do, and that's how he earns points with the scorekeeper, which is his religion. He didn't take the path of becoming a mercenary like a lot of Trandoshans do. He did some mercenarying, but he decided he wanted to be a hunter, which is a more traditional way where you go out hunting beasts. And there is a scene somewhere where Mako says if Kaizen had decided to be a bounty hunter, then everybody would know his name. But since he went the way of, because I mean she was just saying he's that great. But I like his philosophy about life. Like when you first go to Coruscant from Tython, Tython is this kind of rural setting, and then you go to Coruscant, which is a city planet, an Ecumenopolis, and he says, "Is cold world both full and empty?" And I just thought, oh man, that's so philosophical. And yeah, so back in the day when I first started playing too, gear was a thing, right? Like if you didn't really have the gear, because we didn't have a lot of moddable things at the time, you just kind of got gear from quests, and if you made money, you could buy it. But yeah, so I really did use him as a tank, and he really did have to hold aggro, and he really did have to. I would heal him, and I would kill mobs at the same time. I would turn off his AoE so that he wouldn't break CC. And basically, your second as a sage, your next companion doesn't come until Nar Shaddaa, and that was Theron Cedrax, who I didn't like. And Theron is a healer, which I didn't need, so I actually ran with Kaizen for quite a while. And I I really, yeah, as time goes, yeah, I would call him one of my favorites.
So you didn't like Theron? You said? Why didn't you like Theron?
No, I didn't like him because I don't like that sort of arrogant, smartass thing he had going
Yeah,
on.
he's a little bit stuck up. But I like Holiday though. I wish Holiday could be a companion of her own, rip her out and that
Yeah,
that
Holiday would give
AI.
Mako a run for her money, right, as the favorite female companion.
That yeah, she's just one of those cool AI characters. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Kaizen. I think you're absolutely right. Kaizen is a great character in the game. Just a
and
great
Kaizen can wear armor.
backstory in general. He does. He can wear armor. Not boots because Trandoshans don't wear boots apparently.
Yeah,
He's
they
always
wouldn't
got
know what to do with boots, but
his
yeah.
claws sticking out there. But he's got a great storyline all the way throughout. He's really well developed. It really makes you think hard about what the deal is with Trandoshans and learn about Trandoshans along the way. It made me it gave me a lot of respect for that concept of what a Trandoshan really is. And you're right, he's philosophical, and it was interesting. All of those base companions are often those base companions have a little bit extra to them when you go to certain planets or you go to certain locations throughout the game, and in like on the fleet, where if they're out and they're standing next to you, they'll make little comments from time to time,
Right.
and it's pretty cool. It's just a little bit extra, a little additional thing that's out there. I'd like them to continue that with some of the new companions too, just to round them out. I think that would be cool. But yeah, back when it mattered, having a tank, especially for a DPS or a healer main character that you were playing, was important. I would, back when the game was hard, when you're leveling up was hard, I would do a lot of manual control on my tank companions as well. You could save the taunt and use the taunt manually. You can bind to their control bar. You could make
Yeah.
sure that you're sending them in first and waiting for them to get aggro, and then assisting them so that the key mob that they're currently fighting is the one that then you start shooting, so you don't pull aggro
Yeah.
off immediately, etc.
I totally would. I didn't keep buying his taunt, but I would send him in first. And I knew usually after a while you get the pattern of who they're probably going to hit second because they go in the order of tab target.
Yeah, right.
It's like, but you're right. If I lost track, I would definitely target him and pick his target because I want him to keep aggro.
So similarly to you liking Kaizen for that reason, I always liked Kemval. I'll talk about some of my other favorites on the Republic side, but anytime I played a lot of Sork and Assassin on the Imperial side, and Kemval was certainly a favorite. If you want a good tank companion, regardless, but just that idea of what's a good companion for a Sith character, having really like a big killer monster at your side that just wants to
That
not only eat all of your enemies but eat you.
yes, right. Little Sith.
That I really like that, and I really like the voiceover for Kemval.
Gambit ist Franjan, Kupainanan.
All the commentary, all that language, and that sound that is sort of in all of his sound effects and his translations, I think is a
He
really
does have a
cool.
great sound.
Yeah.
I have to say, I prefer the Kaizen's thing where I'm basically the manifestation of his goddess. So, yeah, I like that better than he might kill me.
Is that you have a goddess complex there a little bit there? I like the whole Kemval story though, because he definitely you've sort of enslaved him to start, and he definitely wants to kill you. You know, it's the old good night, sleep well, most likely kill you in the morning. And but he starts that way, and he always compares you to what, Tulak Horde, his previous master thousands of years ago or whatever, hundreds of years ago. But I love the journey of the sort of the slow development of him sort of respecting you more and more over time, and like winning. Like I was sort of working hard to win his respect, and I really wanted his respect throughout my story and my journey. And once by the end, he finally sort of comes around and says, you know, I thought Tulak Horde was great, but I realized that you're doing all of these great things too, and I'm gonna stick with you, and may still kill you someday, but today is not that day.
But till then, I got your back.
Yeah, so I that sort of felt good, that part of the storyline too, and him confronting another one of the Deshad that he has to go after and put down, and that kind of thing. That was a cool sub element to that story too. So what else? You had some other comments about some companions that you used pretty heavily. Where else did you go with companions over time?
So at some point I entered my Treek period. And so that was when Treek was new. I still really like Treek. But I was using Treek on every character. And she was just her utilities were just so useful. I know some people found her babble annoying, but it never bothered me. I thought it was kind of cute, and I liked, like you mentioned, that if she got in trouble, if I pulled too many mobs or whatever, I could change her stance and she would start healing herself. Usually it was too little too late, but hey, that's my issue. I remember back in the day, I used to describe her as adorably bloodthirsty, and that was one of the things I liked about her. She was a fierce killer, but just also really cute.
I think they did the right thing there, because if they went cute with an Ewok, I think there would have been total rebellion. As it was, people were still, teddy bear Ewok, but she was a badass, or she is a badass. When you first get her on the fleet, that little cutscene of when you pick up her contract, and her, like elbowing her way and like taking out people as she like shoulders past them on in the cartel bazaar and knocking people down just to get them out of her way, is a good little intro. And then just the whole thing of, I got off my planet because there's a ship, and I commandeered the ship. Well, how'd you do that? Well, there was a bunch of guys there, and I killed them all.
Right.
Like, alrighty then. and then I ate them. I like to consume the hearts of my enemies. The hearts of the vanquished is delicious. I noticed you have I noticed there's a Nautilon over there. You mind if I like kill and eat that guy? Treek. Settle it down a notch.
There's a spot on McKeb that's like a ledge that, and then down below there are these mobs, and there would be like a slicing note or something that was in range, and I would used to just stand up there and send her off, and she'd go like running way down the hill and around the building, and it's just because there was no direct, but she would still go, and I would just sit there watching her. It was so entertaining.
Yeah, I use Treek same. I used Treek a long time for a lot of things, because Treek was like the go-to questing fighting companion. You sort of had to know, you sort of had to use Treek for the longest time. I'm trying to find here. Where's the good Treek? Is it?
Trixie-ziki, yeah!
And I too, I didn't mind the things Treek said, especially because the voiceover was done well, for one, and for two, it's not English, so it's not like
Right.
it's saying the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again. So it was more just
Right.
like noise, a little bit of white noise over time. So it was okay.
Right.
Um,
Right.
on the Republic side, I used. Oh no, the other category of of companions I wanted to talk about for just a second was the romance companions. I never got into the romance stories too much, except I did complete the romance story for both Mako and for Alara. Um, Alara, I held on out on for the longest time because we were both officers in Havoc Squad, and in the middle of a war, and I didn't think it was appropriate for us to be getting married. Timing was just not right, woman. So I left her really for it must have been like 2 years at that last that last conversation right before where I did because I didn't want to turn her down. I wanted to just put that on hold there for a little bit. But I finally did complete that right before 4.0. I finally completed it. But the biggest reason I really liked Alara as a girlfriend in the game is because I got the Rakghoul customization, which turned her into a zombie, and I got a kick out of having a zombie girlfriend. And then everybody's favorite little girlfriend, Mako, which I liked. I liked her. Mako's cool. I
know since you can't have holiday, I guess Mako will do.
Again, robot AI girlfriend. And I always thought Scorpio would be a good girlfriend too, although she'll kill you also. I had a little bit of a problem with Mako just as a girlfriend because what is she like 18, 19? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm no spring chicken anymore, and I tend to role play my characters as me. So
Right.
She's a little young for me. So I sort of went with no, maybe she's 30. She just looks young for her age because she's a clone. So how about you? Did you have any romance companions you talked about? I sprung it on you before. So I've got Torian up there.
I did. I have to say my favorite romance was on my Merc with Torian.
Or T-Dog, as I call him.
Yeah, right. And again, I liked it because the whole Mandalorian thing of, honor and blah, 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 that was interesting to me. And actually, when I was using him as a companion, I think he was spec DPS, and we were both DPSing, and he would come flying in with his double-sided laser. Yeah. It was fun. It was cool. I mean, most of the romances I didn't really find that interesting.
Yeah.
Like Lieutenant Laressa. I don't know if it's maybe the
Laressa.
opposite way if you play male characters, if maybe the romances are better. I don't know. But for since my characters are almost uniformly female, it's like the romance, like with Lieutenant Iresso on the stage, it was just sort of like very perfunctory and
yeah,
not that
I don't need
interesting.
that. Yeah, there were most of them. I actually did go through most of them on the male characters, at least to click through the conversations. Most of them were okay. Some of them. Oh, like Kaleo, I did not romance because she was a brat. So as soon as I got who's that other companion? I don't even know if I finished romancing her, but as soon as I could start romancing that other companion on the agent, I was like, later, Kaleo, because I was tired of her disapproving of every single thing I did. Minus one affection. Whatever. Stay in the ship. Go.
Stay in the ship.
Go gather some scavenging mats. I don't know. Go craft a barrel. So there was that. And then, how about of the newest companions? Why don't we finish it up by what's your favorite new companion to either hang out with or quest with or whatever?
Of the two, of the new ones, the two that I've spent the most time, doing battle with are Koth and Nico.
Nico?
And I like both of them, really. I know some people don't like Koth because they say he's whiny, but it doesn't strike me that way. I like him. I do like Nico. He's just kind of a down to earth guy. And he's actually the companion I have on my Scoundrel, and I've been playing my Scoundrel quite a bit lately. So
Yeah.
they're like smuggler buddies or whatever.
A drinking buddy. I like
Yeah.
Nico. I gotta record that that voiceover. He has like one of three things when you send him off on a crew mission that he says, but the one I like the best is you're like, Nico, go get me this gathering thing. And it goes, after this drink. That's my favorite thing he says. I gotta record that so I can play it all the time. My favorite for a long time was Senya. I just liked
Right.
again, she was mature and and older, had a good backstory, sort of that serious bad cop good cop type of thing going on. I do really like Lana though. I think Lana's has been done so well all through Forged Alliances up until now, and only gotten sort of better as a character. That I get a kick out of hanging with her as a fighting companion. But mostly of the sort of, quote unquote newer ones, and I'm expanding this here, not just story, is the animals, the Nexu and the Act Dog. So most of the time I'll have one of them out when I'm fighting. I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of influence to level them up because they can't do crafting and stuff. But I also don't bother to level them up all that much because you don't need to. They're powerful enough as it is. I'm powerful enough. I don't need a super powerful companion. So I just throw them a bunch of the 200 credit gifts on the fleet, and they're set. So, all right. Well, we have I thought this was going to be like a half hour, and we're almost an hour now, yapping about companions. So with
But
that,
I guess I just
yeah,
I do want to say one thing
closing.
in closing, which is that now I feel like I do need to pick my companions if I'm going to give them influence based on whether or not I think I will ever lose them.
Yes.
So
that's a challenge.
that's kind of yeah. So it's like I do use Nico, but I don't know that I would if I was free to pick some of the others.
So Senya, I've got up to 33, and now I'm thinking, just especially from some of the things that happened in Chapter 10, and she's getting a little disgruntled and stomping off and mad about her kids. And
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I guess I
stuff
did
could
the same thing
happen.
with Koth. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, and it also makes me feel like, gosh, I better never disagree with him.
Right. Exactly. I sunk all that influence into you, bro. Better not.
What would Koth do?
WWKD.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, speaking of a companion which has gone to 0 influence with me, is negative 1,000 affection, is APC 133, who I've shoved into the escape pod here. So let's wrap this one up so he can go broadcast the show for us. Thanks to everyone for joining us on newoverlords.com, iTunes, YouTube, or live here on Twitch. We will stream again next Monday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 3 p.m. 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter @MaxTheGray or @AIESEMA. Please follow us and subscribe on YouTube. And certainly come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.